Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters, and welcome to the first podcast. This is going to be off the cuff, so bear with me. I've never done this before. Probably be chatting shit throughout, but just bear with me. Let's have some bit of fun in it. There's nothing else to do. It's Christmas Day. Well, I'm assuming any of you lot are having Christmas dinner. Maybe a chicken tikka somewhere, or a cheeky burger or something like that. Who knows? Anyway, enjoy yourselves and listen up. So we're going to go through tomorrow's games, starting off with the Spurs game. That's the early kick-off at 12:30 tomorrow. Spurs at home to Southampton at Wembley. You're going to have to fancy Spurs in this one, really, aren't you? I mean, after the last performance against Burnley, Harry Kane was on fire, scoring a hat-trick, picking up loads of points for many people in the fantasy. And you've got to fancy them to do it again, to be honest. Southampton are going to be missing a striker in Austin there. You know, he's been banned now for 3 games for an off-the-ball incident, which, you know, to be honest, seemed a bit harsh, but rules are rules. Spurs, decent at home, starting to pick up more points. I can see them winning here again. I'm going to go for another 2-0 victory for Spurs. Harry Kane and probably Son for the scorers there. I can't see Southampton scoring, so a clean sheet there for Spurs. So that's the early game there for me. Moving on, got Bournemouth and West Ham. Tricky one this is. I mean, you know, before last week's games, or like I say last week's a few days ago, West Ham were on form, and you know they were going into the Newcastle game, and you'd think they were nailed on to win, but all of a sudden Newcastle turned up, and boom, the Messiah gets his first, or second defeat. Sorry. So, although both teams are seeking a win here, struggling to pick out a winner, if I were to go for the winner, I'd probably go for Bournemouth. To be honest, I don't know why, but a lot of gut instincts tells me that Bournemouth might sneak this one. Bournemouth have had a terrible run of fixtures the last 3 games. They've had Liverpool, United and Chelsea, I think, one in the cup as well. So, and out of those 3 games, they've lost all 3 of them. So they want to get back to winning ways. West Ham, as you know, they've had a bit of resurgence under Moisey. They lost last week, so they'll be itching to put that straight. I mean, on paper, it looks like a draw, doesn't it, really, if you think about it? But I'm edging towards Bournemouth. I think they play good football, Bournemouth. I like the way they play football. They keep it on the deck, they pass it around. They don't change their style, no matter how bad they're losing. They always remain on the deck. Eddie Howe's got them playing well. I like Eddie Howe. He's a good manager. Hopefully in the future he gets some higher up the table, or he gets a move to a bigger club. For this one though, I'm going to go for a Bournemouth 2-1. Okay, moving on. We've got Chelsea v Brighton. Chelsea at home. Their last game, they stumbled away at Everton. They drew 0-0 against the Toffees. So Conte would want a response here from his lads, and they need it, to be honest. I mean, luckily for Chelsea, all the other teams bar Spurs obviously are chasing the top 4 and drop points, so their position on the table didn't get affected, but they'd want to solidify that 3rd place, because as it stands, looking at the table now, they're probably playing for 3rd. Maybe they'll try and catch United in 2nd, but I mean, there's a long way to go. I mean, this is just looking at the table now, as and when they might think, or they might have a chance of catching United, and they might do. So you never know. But for now, I think they'll beat Brighton. I think they'll beat them not comfortably. I think it'll be a struggle again. But the scoreline I'm going to give you, it may sound like it'll be comfortable. I'm going to go for 3-0 Chelsea. I heard today, actually, that Brighton have arranged a fee, 18 million quid for Dembele, Celtic striker. Now, a year ago, or a year and a half ago, all the top clubs are after him. United are after him, Liverpool are after him. He is I say class is getting branded around too often. He's a very good striker. He can score goals. He's done it in the Champions League. He's done it in the Premier League in Scotland, which is probably the equivalent as the Championship here in the UK. I think that's a good signing for Brighton. I think they needed a bit of firepower. If that is true, I don't know how much of it is true. That's a very good signing. 18 million seems a bit of a bargain as well. If they can keep them up, that's a good signing, that is. But back to this game, I think Chelsea will win 3-0. Morata's back. Hazard was the best player on the pitch against Everton, but he didn't get his rewards. I think Morata will grab a couple, Hazard with a goal as well. 3-0 Chelsea. Moving on, Huddersfield versus Stoke. Not the most attractive fixture on paper. Both teams around the same place in the table. Stoke did get a win last week in a relegation 6-pointed, as to say. They beat West Brom 3-1, which what they needed. Huddersfield picked up a draw away from home at Southampton. Huddersfield is strong at home, though. That's one thing you got to understand. The home crowd behind them, Boxing Day, all the crowd will be merry, lively, be a big noise coming out of them. I just fancy Huddersfield in this one. I think they'll edge this one 2-1. I'm going to go for Huddersfield on this one. I've picked out Aaron Moy and my cheeky players to watch, so I'm going to back Aaron Moy there. And Potter as well. I reckon he's going to continue his fine form up front. For Stoke, who knows who could score? Could be anyone, couldn't it, really? But I think they will get a goal. I think Huddersfield are suspect to concede a goal now and then. So that may be the case out on the weekend, or weekend, say tomorrow, that is. So 2-1 on that one. Moving on, Old Trafford next. The theatre of dreams, has to say. More like a bloody library, a snooze fest. But they did entertain me last game, fair play. The 2-2 of Leicester. I actually stayed awake for it, which is very rarely you say that about Man United this year. All the Man United fans, listen to them now, they're all cursing me and they fuck off. I love it. Anyway, back to this game. Burnley, they've been dealt a harsh blow recently, losing to Watkins, that's their main man in defence. They're light in defence at the moment. They struggled against Spurs last time out. I think they'll struggle here as well. Mourinho would want a response from his team. He was, clearly upset or annoyed with his team's performance and lack of clinicalness or ruthlessness in front of goal against Leicester. I mean, they missed an abundance of chances. They had 3 or 4 chances where they could have buried the game. And that irritated Jose. You could see that in his post-match interview, that he was rather peed off, to be honest. So I think he's going to make a few changes. He's going to chop and change the team a little. So don't be surprised if there's a few changes in his starting lineup, just to send a message to his team that you're not guaranteed starters. You need to work and earn this shirt. I think Lukaku will start. He's got he tends to score against teams like this. He tends to choke against the big teams, as we know. I think United will win this one comfortably, like Spurs. I think 3-0 in this one. I think Pogba will get on the score sheet, Lukaku will get one, and I'm giving the other one to Hesse. I think the Mancunian Spanish attacking midfielder Hesse Lingard is going to continue his form. Moving on, Watford versus Leicester. Watford in dire form at the moment. I mean, they're really struggling to pick up a win or any sort of points from anywhere right now, which is mad because they started the season like a house on fire. Silva has got has been questioned now in some places. In the last 4 games prior to the last game, he's had a man sent off in every game. So they desperately need a win here. I don't think they'll get it either. Leicester are a good side and they proved that against Man United. They were down to 10 men, but they kept going, they kept plugging away, and they got their just rewards. I think this will be a draw, to be honest. I think it'll be a high-scoring game as well. I'm going to go for Desmond, 2-2. 2-2 the final score. I think Richarlison will get back to scoring ways. I think Vardy will keep scoring. And, I think Mahrez will get the other one for Leicester. And possibly Doucouré for Watford, because he loves a goal now and then, doesn't he? Which will please some of our managers in the SOB. Okay, moving on. We've got West Brom and Everton. West Brom, they're in dire straits, aren't they? I mean, I question why they sacked Tony Pulis in the first place. I mean, if you ever want a man who keeps a team up in the Premiership, Tony Pulis is the man. But the fans were on the chairman's back saying he plays a boring brand of football. They want to change that. They sacked him. They got an Alan Pardew who hasn't managed for 2 years, and all of a sudden he's been back in the Premier League, and he hasn't won a game yet. And they're second from bottom. They're struggling. They don't look like they can score goals. They don't have much creativity coming from the midfield, and they're in trouble. West Brom need a win in this game. And if they were playing an Everton team from 4 or 5 weeks ago, the pre-Sam Allardyce era, I would have gone for a West Brom win. But Sam Allardyce has toughened Everton up. They've got a bit of steel about them now. I can see them going to the Hawthorns and getting either a draw or even sneaking a win here. But for now, I'm going to go for a score draw here. I think it's going to be 1-1. West Brom will get a goal from somewhere, possibly from a set play. As to will Everton, and honours even on this one. I can't see it being a cracker. It may even be a 0-0, to be honest. But there you go. Moving on to the late game on tomorrow, which is Tuesday, is Liverpool versus Swansea. And do you know what? I'm a skeptical. I'm a pessimist. Sorry, I am skeptical about this as well. Reason being, we played Swansea around the same time last year as well, and they had just sacked their manager, the American lad, whatever his name was, Bruce Banner. Or no, that's the Hulk, innit? What's his face? You know what I mean. But and they got in that Paul Clement, and they went to Anfield and they beat Liverpool. And lo and behold, the same things happened. They've got rid of their manager. They've got no manager now. Leon Britton's in charge. All fingers point to a Liverpool win. But as Liverpool, as always, Jekyll and Hyde, they'll probably fuck up in this game. And I know I'm getting cursed right now by my Liverpool fellow supporters, but you know it'd be true. You know that teams like this will turn up to Anfield, play 10 in defence, and try and sneak a goal off a corner or a set place, because we got one of Belgium's finest, yeah, right, one of Belgium's worst products of football, Mignolet goals. It was awful. And we've got a back four which is just as bad. And they showed that against Arsenal. I mean, of course I'll be chuffed if Liverpool win this. I just don't fancy it, but I'm going to back my team. I'm going to go for 2-1. But it won't surprise me if I get a shitload of abuse from Man United fans if we draw or lose to this Swansea side, who are managerless, and we'll probably turn up to Anfield and give it a right go, as they did last year. But last year they had Llorente, who scored the goals for them. I mean, Tammy Abraham's up there, Boney is up there. I don't know. I'm never confident with Liverpool games nowadays. Even when they're 2-0 up, I'm still not confident. But hey, that's Liverpool for you, innit? And the last game they got two more games, sorry. Newcastle, Man City. Newcastle, well, they turned up last game, didn't they? I mean, no one thought they'd go to West Ham and get a win, and they did that. And Rafa needed that. Rafa needed that to stop the barren run they were under. They were going at 7 games without a win until the last game. And they beat West Brom. I got them out of the shit a little bit and up the table slightly. But this Man City side, they're on fire right now. I can't see them losing. Can you? Let's be honest. Newcastle will be tough to break down. They will give it a good go, as Newcastle sides always do under Rafa. They'll be hard to break down. But Man City will find a way through. They've got too much class. They've got too much quality. Aguero was awesome last game. De Bruyne had a quiet one. Sane had a quiet one. Sterling had a good game. So, they tend to interchange, and they've got so many good players. If 2 of them have a bad game, the other 2 will have a good game. Do you know what I mean? If 3 of them have a good game, 1 of them will have a bad game, and so forth. There's always 2 or 3 players there who will turn up and have a good game. And I can see that happening again. You could pick any one of 5 players you can say that will have a good game for Man City. I tell you something now, I won't be surprised if Gandu will start and Gandu will have a good game. Pep likes to rotate, and he likes Gundogan, whatever his name is, and I think Gundogan will have a game. I think Silva will start, and I won't be surprised if you see someone like Sane rested, because he was pretty poor last game, which pissed me off because I haven't capped him. But there you go, that's another story. But I think Man City will win this one. I think Newcastle will score. I don't know why. I think they will score. I'm going to go for 3-1 Man City. And finally, we've got Crystal Palace versus Arsenal. Arsenal were involved in that cracker of a game against Liverpool last time out. Crystal Palace drew also in their last game. I'm torn about this one. On paper, normally I'd go for Arsenal. I think it all depends how their players, their star players, the Ozils, the Sanchez's, the Lacabled Clat, Zet, come back after Christmas, whether they've had too many mince pies or not. Roy Hodgson, in Roy they trust. I think he's set them up well now They're a well organised team as they weren't before.